What are you doing
Oh.
the next couple weeks?
I am...
Or what have you been doing, and then what are you going to be doing over the next couple weeks?
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to... The main thing that I'm focusing on right now is content creation and getting back into the groove of sharing what I know, because I feel like I learned so much over the past couple of months, and because I was in the state of receiving information, it was hard for me to share it back because I still hadn't processed it enough to be able to explain what I was learning. But now I'm finally at a place where I feel comfortable speaking about what I've learned, and a lot of what I've learned is are things that I had never encountered really before, and that are not necessarily contained within mainstream pillars of thought. And so my main goal right now is to get these ideas and concepts that have changed my life so dramatically, that are not existing in mainstream pillars of thought, and bring it to more audience, like a larger audience, so that other people who resonate can find these concepts and apply it to their lives and benefit their own lives. And some of those concepts are just like literally, I used to think manifestation was so dumb and like law of attraction was bullshit. But like in the past couple of months, I've been experimenting with it, and to me, it does not feel bullshit anymore. And just expressing that to more people and being another example of someone that these like things that seem so magical and fantasy, like, to show that actually it works, and it works not just for white people who are like privileged, it works for people of any background. And one of the main, at least because right now I'm talking about manifestation because that's what I'm really focusing on right now, as I just started a business and I'm manifesting I'm trying to visualize a more wealthy life for myself. But one of the arguments against the existence of the law of attraction is that like they think about like there are people, it's like, oh yeah, so like we were just saying that like people in like a third world country can just visualize something and it'll just happen for them. That's not how the world works. But honestly, I believe yes, they can. If they knew how to use it and they visualized it and they used the techniques, it would greatly benefit their lives. And it's not like, so, and the other difference is that like for me, like from being in a place of privilege, it's easier for me to visualize more lavish and luxurious and like high-end life experiences because I'm closer to that. But for someone who's in a more difficult and less privileged state, their visualizations are going to be massive. It's going to be like very far away from them and very like, what's the word?
Well, it's relative. Like,
yes, it's relative.
Advancement, so
exactly.
Whatever they want to
exactly
focus on. The whole point of manifestation is setting intention.
Yes.
To actually make a change, because if you're doing something and it's not working, you need to change what you're doing because it's not going to get you where you want to be.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to do is trying to show people that there is another way than there is another way to achieve success in all the ways that you envision success to look, and it doesn't have to be the way that our population has been doing it in the mainstream. Like, it doesn't have to be about hustle culture. It doesn't have to be about like striving and pushing and just like hating your life and etc. So I think that's my main focus of right now, and I'm trying to get more comfortable making content and speaking, because I see myself doing public speaking live in the future. So I need to get comfortable doing it as often as I can, and expressing the thoughts that I have in my mind in a way that is understandable and can be received by anyone who's listening. So I'm doing that. So I'm trying to make video. Actually, I'm not trying. I've set this goal of filming a video every day, and I did it today too. This counts. And then another thing, I have the coaching business. So I'm also coaching people one-on-one, which is another interesting experience because that's completely different. That's still teaching, but that's more of a collaborative, because when I speak my videos or when I record something, I get to fully determine what I'm talking about. But then working with someone one-on-one, you have to get feedback from the other person. You have to listen to them and determine what their needs are and kind of tweak your message and tweak the way that you present it.
To make it work for them.
To make it work for them based on what their beliefs are and how they see the world. And then another thing that I'm working on is a course, but I haven't really fully started working on that yet. But it's just basically a group. It's going to be either a live group course where I meet with the people who are in the course every week and kind of delivered like a lecture type of thing, but a more casual, it's not an actual lecture, but it's like I'm presenting something and then there's time for sharing and talking. It's either going to be that or it's going to be a pre-recorded course where I pre-record modules and share a lot of the practices that I've learned over my life that have been helping me create a happier life is the best way I can say it. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm really proud of myself because already I feel so different with video making. I used to be so like outcome oriented, and now I'm really genuinely shifted into like, as long as one person hears me and was like, oh, that was a good idea that I learned from Arij, I'm gonna now that's like fed into their mind and that's like planted a seed. I'm like, okay, I did my job.
Yeah,
that was successful. Another thing is I've been progressively getting less freaked out about money, which is really freeing. That's the real liberation. That's probably why I'm focusing on manifestation stuff so much probably this year, because that's huge liberation when you don't feel like you have to do. That's another thing we were talking about before about feeling forced to do something.
Yes.
A lot of people feel forced to do something. No one's forcing you to work a 9-to-5 job, but you feel compelled to work a 9-to-5 job because you're so scared of not having money. And so if I could help people free themselves from that fear and that scarcity mindset, then that will have such huge positive implications on that specific individual that I've helped, their lives, and also the lives of everyone around them, because like the mindsets ripple out. I feel like I have a huge mission.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes people, like, yes, they do have to work to make money because they're living paycheck to paycheck or whatever, but the point is that they set the intention that they don't, well, maybe some of them maybe do want to do that forever, but for the ones that don't, they have to set the intention that they're looking for opportunities to get out of that, and taking steps, no matter how small they are,
yes,
to move away or to move towards what they want to be.
And that's why the law of attraction mindset, I feel, helps, because the law of attraction mindset, one of the main things that you must believe is that it is possible for you to receive anything that you visualize. Like for me to make $1 million a year, I have to first imagine it possible. Like I have to be able to envision myself living a life that makes me $1 million a year. You know, like me last year, I would not be able to think that was possible, because I'm like, no, that's so far out of reach. It's not logical. It doesn't seem very practical. I don't know how it's going to happen. But because I've employed all these like beliefs about how, like beliefs related to law of attraction stuff, it doesn't seem that far away. I'm like, oh, and now I'm actually seeing, because I set that intention myself, I'm like, oh, it doesn't seem that far away for me to be making $1 million a year. I believe that I'm worthy of that. I believe that it is possible for me because I can envision it. Now all of a sudden I'm seeing like people are popping up into my lives that are coaching and making $1 million a year. It's like, I feel like once, like you said, you set the intention and then your mind like knows what to look for. And then any opportunities that pop up that kind of match that path, because you've set the intention, you can recognize those opportunities. Whereas if you had not set the intention, then those opportunities might still have come and existed in front of you, but you wouldn't have been able to recognize them and act upon them in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think whether or not anyone believes in the actual like metaphysical theories of why law of attraction works, it's still a valid way to achieve really crazy, amazing things in your life.
Mm-hmm.